Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic and Alchemist Sudoku, a debut by Irius, who wrote to us and said, as many have done before, that they've been inspired by the channel to try setting a Sudoku, and they think it came out quite nicely. So let's test that out. That's what Alchemy is all about, and see if we can find some gold, or at least green at the end. That's a Blackadder reference. So I'll do the rules in a minute. Don't forget that we have on Patreon this month our Patreon reward, which is the Hollywood Lunchbox, a pack of sandwich Sudokus, which are great fun, I think. And yeah, we got a very nice compliment the other day from somebody who said these were absolutely fantastic. They couldn't wait for the next month's Patreon reward. So if you can't wait for this month's, check it out on Patreon. And there's loads of other content on Patreon, crosswords and connections, all sorts of videos, extra solves. And we're streaming again, of course, every now and then. What else have we got going on? We've got our apps. A number of the rules in today's puzzle feature in our apps, like Arrow Sudoku, Thermo Sudoku, Killer Sudoku. And so on and so forth. There are a number of them. Do check them out on the links under the video, along with Sven's Sudoku pad and our merchandise, which is a fabulous collection of stuff. Now, let's have a look at the rules that Irius sent. So, normal Sudoku rules apply. That's 1 to 9 to go in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. Ooh, that's not quite a 3x3 box. There we go. A cage shows its sum, so those 3 digits add up to 13. And doesn't contain repeat digits. I don't think that matters for any of these cages, which can't. Digits along a thermometer increase from the bulb end. That's the normal thermo rule. Digits along an arrow sum to the number in the attached circle. That's the normal arrow rule. And a clue outside the grid, this is the normal little killer rule, shows the sum of the indicated diagonal. So those 6 digits add up to 24. You can actually tell from the sum of 34 in 6 digits there that repeat digits must be allowed in such a sum. And also the orange area marked in the grid contains each digit from 1 to 9. It's what we call an extra region. So do give it a try on the first link under the video. I'm going to start now. Let's get cracking. It looks with this many clues as though it might be quite approachable, and certainly I can whack in a digit straight away on the end of that thermo. Then this 6 cage must contain 1 and 3, and that means the bulb of the thermo next to that has to be at least 4. So we're down to 2 degrees of freedom along that. I think that must be accurate. Now, let's think about the geometry of this orange plus section. If we compare the central column and the orange plus, you can see that 5 of the digits are the same. The other 4 digits in each case must be the same set to make up the digits 1 to 9. And therefore, 9, 8, 2, and let's call it purple, must appear in these cells. Well, where can 9 and 8 go? Neither of them can go there and there on the thermo. That's very clear. So they must go on the thermo ends. And 2 can't even be there on the thermo, because that is the 3rd cell along the thermo, and digits have to increase. So 2 is there and purple is there. Now I am not afraid. I wasn't afraid at the start, but I'm actually going to mark the possible digits along this thermo, because there aren't that many available now. 1 degree of freedom. And it means the purple digit is 4 or 5. Now, I don't think the little killer clues are coming into play, and I'm not sure how to use the arrows yet. So I think it's all about the cages, and maybe still, actually, no, it's still about this central orange plus. We've got 8 and 9 as a pair, and we've seen where 2 is. Oh, we've got this cage that adds up to 21. Right, that's going to tell me that this can't be a 4, because these digits would be 4, 5, 6. Oh no, hang on, I've done my maths wrong. It's not going to tell me that that can't be a 4. I thought that these 4 digits would add up to 21 in that case, but it's only, well, it's only 19. But that would require a 2 in the middle. If this was a 4, that would force 5 and 6 here. So it does tell me that's not a 4, just not for the reason I thought. So those add up to 5. If that was 5 and 6, this would be another 5. That's not possible. Am I getting the maths right this time? Yes. So that's a 4. And now we know that purple is a 4, so that's a 4. These 2 digits for the total of the cage have to add to 12. So there's no way that can be a 6. They're 5 and 7, that's 6. This is a 1 to complete the column. And we've basically finished the orange plus and the 21 cage. That 1 sees this cell. This pair adds up to 15. They're either 7, 8 or 6, 9. This pair adds up to 7, and it's not 6, 1 and it's not 4, 3. So it is 2, 5. Let's just get rid of the purple while we're thinking about that 4. Now, everything else in this box is 1, 3, 4, or 7. And this one is not a 4 because it would require another 4 in the cage. So that is 1, 3, or 7. 5, 2, 7, 4, 3. Not quite sure where to go next. Gonna have to ponder this one. Don't think, oh, this central row, the remaining digits are 1, 5 and 6. Now, this cannot be a 1 in the 21 cage. So, that is 5 or 6. If it's a 6, this is a 7, 8 pair. And if it's a 5, it's a 7, 9 pair. So there's definitely a 7 there. And now we've got a 7, 8, 9 triple in the box. And that means this cell on the thermo is not 9, 8 or 7. I'm going to put 6 and 4 in as possibilities because it's already seeing 5 and 3. Then this one is 5, 4 or 2, and this one is 1, 2 or 4. I'm obviously avoiding 3 because of the given digit. Now, 9, 8, 7, 3. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. I don't really know. I still don't know how to use this arrow, even though the choices have reduced considerably. Now I've got quite a lot of digits on this big diagonal, so let's consider those. Okay, what's the maximum along these 3? I think it's 9, 3, 6, which is 18. So I would need the minimum of these 3 to be the difference between 18 and 34, which is 16. So 7 must appear here, because 8, 4, 3 doesn't get that job done. So 7's in one of those cells, not in those. And that's not 1. Now, 7 and 1 would require this to go 9, 3, 6. 7 being in one of those hasn't fixed this 15 pair. Okay, let's try the 27 diagonal as well. Not quite sure if this is going to reveal much. 8 plus what? The maximum? No, the minimum here. 8, 1 and 2 is 11. These max at 16. That's not helpful. The maximum then is 17. These have a minimum of 10. That's not very helpful either. Okay, all I know is that 1 must be in one of these cells. I'll tell you something else I know. This can't be a 1, 5, 6 cage, which is one of the possible sums of 12, or that would break. And that feels interesting. It doesn't actually rule anything out. I don't think the lower little killer clues, the diagonals, well, this one might be. The minimum for those cells are 5, 2, 6, which add up to 13. Oh, that's getting interesting. The maximum for these is 14 then. And that means the maximum for this cell is 4. Maybe that's not very exciting. Oh, okay, maybe the 16 cage. I'm now noticing that 3 can't appear in it. And that if 1 or 2 do, they must sit here. But there is another possibility that there wasn't a 1 or a 2 in it, and that is that it was 4, 5, 7. And that's a shame. It's nearly giving us something to do. This puzzle got a bit harder suddenly, didn't it? Or is it, maybe it's just me, but I think it did. The other, I don't know. I mean, I was going to fill in 1, 6, 8, 9 as a quadruple around the centre, but since they don't apply to any clues outside the grid, I'm not sure. If 6, 9 were here, that would be a 1, 8 pair. And this would be 5. In fact, where does 5 go in this column? There's an interesting question. It doesn't go in this 16 cage, so it definitely goes here at the bottom. And now these have gone up. Their minimum value is now 627, which is 15. The maximum value of these is 12, and that can't be a 4 anymore. This also can't be a 9 now. And these must be either 6, 7 or 6, 8. They must include a 6. These add up to 15, and by elimination, those add up to 15 as well. So this is now 7, 8 or 9, and that is also 7, 8 or 9. And this is interesting. So this is either a 6, 7 or a 6, 8 pair. If it was 6, 7, that would have to be 7, 1. Also, if this was an 8, that's going to force 7, 9. Actually, that's quite interesting. If it was a 9, things are maybe even more forced in a different way. If that's a 9, this is an 8, 7 pair. And then we can add this cage up, and that's a 6, and that's a 4. So 9 is either there or there. If this is a 9, 9, 12, 20, and the 7 is 27. We get 7 from the total of the other one out of 1, 3, 4 there, and this digit. Okay, that's one way it could work. Otherwise, if 9 is here, this is an 8, 7 pair, and that must be 6, and this must be 4. And then this can only be 1 or 2, because it also can't be 5. Now that's very interesting. If this is 9, we've got a 3 there and a 1 or 2 here, which is 14 or 13, requiring these to add up to 20 or 21, which they cannot possibly do. That's really interesting. Look, if this is a 9, that's an 8, that's a 7, that's a 6 to make the 21 total. That's the crucial point, because that makes this a 4, and this has to be really low, 1 or 2, it can't be 5. So the totals you get to are just nowhere near enough. Even at a maximum 2, you're on 14. These would have to add up to 20, and they can't quite get there. 8, 7, 4 is 19. So this is not a 9. That is a 7, 8 pair. This is a 6. No, hang on, I've done that the wrong way round. Sorry, this was all founded on if this was a 9. And it turns out it's not. So this is the 9. I'm sorry, I got that the wrong way round. This is the 9. That's an 8. That gives us a 9 over this side, which actually doesn't take away any freedoms. These add up to 12, and they must be 5, 7 now. And that hasn't taken away much of the possible stuff. Okay, so let's see where we are after that. Now on this diagonal, we've got 20 in the digits where we've written them in. We've got a 7 to come. I've done this before. The other 2 digits are a 1, 3 or 4 there, and a 6, 4 or 3 here. Well, it's not a 3, So it's not a 4 in those two. And now we've got a 1, 3, 7 triple, and that is a 4. And that's on the 27 diagonal, which I shall look at in a moment. First thing I'm going to do is spot that that cell is 1 or 2. This circle is 4 or 5. That's going to impinge on those numbers in some way. But I promised to have a look at this diagonal. We've already got 12. That's quite big. So if that was a 5, these would add up to 10. Now it's not big enough to be a problem. Okay. Oh, Sudoku. 9 and 1 go in those cells. So these are 6 and 8. Now, did that mean this couldn't be 6 and 9? No, it didn't. Not at all. That didn't. Okay, 6 and 8 though, they're looking at that cell, which is a 7. That has some impact on the earlier parts of the thermo. This is now a 4-5 pair. Oh, this is getting interesting for the 12 cage. That's a 2, 3, 8 triple. This can't be an 8 in the 12 cage. If that's a 6, this is 2, 6, 4. If it's a 1, we just can't get to the total at all. So it is 2, 6, 4. And the 12 gauge is done. That's a 1 on the arrow. This is a 5. This is now 4 or 9 in the circle. It can't be 9, so it's 4. And now we've got some actual facts to use in the puzzle, I think. Hasn't fixed this. Whether that's a 4 makes one of those a 3, but if it's a 6... if that's a 4, it makes one of these a 3. That becomes 1, that becomes 7. No, that works in this column. I was wondering if there was going to be interplay between those cells, but it didn't quite happen. Now, we've got this diagonal. Oh, this one, we've only got one cell to fill in. Well, that is the way to go. So 10, 12, 15, this is a 9. That's just Sudoku. So this is now a 7, 8 pair. This is a 6. That's going to fix a lot of things. 8, 6, 9, 1, 7 at the top. Oh, it's not going to fix this cell, weirdly. That's a 1, 3 pair, and those two add up to 7. Oh, I thought it was going to do much more than that. Still, this can be, and quite likely is, a 4, 5, 7 cage. No, it's not. Look at that. That's beautiful. If this didn't have a 1 or a 2 in it, it can't have a 3. If it didn't have a 1 or a 2, it would have to be 4, 5, 7. That's the only way to make up 16. And if it did that, the 5, 4 there would make that a 7. And a 4, 5 here, well, I spotted it would break that thermocell. It would also break this cell. Anyway, it's not 4, 5, 7, so it does have a 1 or 2 in it. That has to sit at the bottom. That's now a 1, 2 pair, and the bulb here becomes a 4. And now we are going to flow through the puzzle, I think. 7 there. This is just Sudoku. 1, 3, 2, 5. These done? No. This same column needs 7, 8, and 9. So that's an 8. That's a 7. We get a 9 in the 16 cage to go with a 6 or a 5 here. There's 8, 4, 5, 7. I think things are coming all over the place. That's the only place for 9 in box 1. That's a naked 8. It sees all the other Sudoku digits. Then we can fill in 7 and 1 in the row. Now this is getting impacted. 4, 8 and 7 are not allowed in the 13 cage, nor is 1 given the positions of these 1s. So if it didn't have a 2, it would be 3, 5, impossible. So it does have a 2, and 2 digits that add up to 11 without being 8, 3, 7, 4 or 2, 9. So it's 2, 5, 6, and I can write the 5 in, if not the 2, 6. Now I can fill in 9, 1, 3 in the box. Oh, 2, 6 are a pair that aren't resolved there. That's a 3. coming down the column. I've got 3, 5, 8 there. That's going to fix the thermo. 6, 4, 1, 2, 9, 7. That's a 9. That's a 7. That's a 2. The 6, 2 is done. This 7, 8 pair is resolved. Looking along this row, that is not a 3. We've got 5, 6 and 8 left to place, and I can't do them. In this bottom row, 5, 4, 6, 7, 9, so that's not 5. 5, 4, 6, 7, 9, that is 2 or 8. And that is 1, 2 or 3. I can't believe this is not done now. It must be. That is a naked 4. That'll get us done. 5 in the circle, 2 on the arrow, 1 there. 6 in the cage, 1 in the cage. I think that's all the clues around the puzzle. And I can do 2 and 6 up here. Then I can come down and do 8, 2 and 3. 8 in the corner, 5 and a 3 to finish. And that is Alchemist Sudoku. We have found our quest. What a nice flow through that puzzle. I mean, just like the flow you would see in an alchemist's laboratory through all his various burettes and pipettes and things. Maybe. And yes, I don't know anything about Irius, but I know that Irius has made us a very nice puzzle, and that was great. Thank you for watching, as always. Hope you enjoyed that one, if you had a go at it. There was some very entertaining aspects to it, I thought, and it was good fun. And we will see you again next time on the channel. Bye for now.